Hello and welcome. This is going to be a discussion about some terms that talk about the colonies and the time period before the American people became an American people and became the United States of America. In fact, before there was a revolution. The prevailing economic wisdom of the time was mercantilism, that very big, powerful countries got that way because they had colonies that supplied them with things. England put into effect a series of laws called the Navigation Acts. It's back in the 1650s, and basically it made sure the colonists used English ships to transfer goods, that the crew of those ships were basically English, 75%, that they ended up in British ports, and that anytime there was kind of a very valued commodity, it always went to England first, or they had first right of refusal. During this time period, the colony of Massachusetts had its charter taken away, and the one person sent to complain about it was Increase Mather, kind of an unusual name, a minister, and he pleaded that Massachusetts be allowed its freedom. He didn't get his way. Strangely, he would return to the colonies and write a pamphlet or write a book about the Salem witch trials, in which he suggested that people with darker skin were somehow more evil. Many believe that this contributed to the idea, the notion of racial disharmony and the introduction of slavery into colonial society. The Dominion of New England was a relatively short-term military project here in the New World. It was led by Sir Edmund Andros. When the King of England got kicked out, this was the Glorious Revolution because no blood was shed, Parliament simply replaced King James. For the next many decades, the English sort of neglected the colonies. They just believed they would follow the rules and didn't have to be watched. This is called salutary neglect. As colonists here in the New World got a little bit smarter about understanding their surroundings, they began to have more food than they needed, so they began to sell that excess. And when you do that, that's called cash cropping. It's a type of farming. The South really didn't have cities. They had plantations, and there's a lot of activity around that, but they didn't have a lot of cities. Basically, plantations had access to rivers. Cities and towns did not, so that's why they were the most important. In colonial society, but particularly in Southern society, women were basically second-class citizens. They had no legal or economic rights. You go lower than that, well, that was probably indentured servants, people who agreed to come here and for a period of 7 to 10 years do some work for people who brought them over. This kind of ties into a relationship like a serf, a peasant, someone that served the land and the lord who owned it, so you're always kind of tied to the property. It kind of guarantees you're going to have a lot of poor people running around. Obviously, slaves are at the very bottom of any social class here in America because they had nothing. America starts to enjoy the benefits of something called the Triangle of Trade, and it's really the shape of the pattern of trading that starts to take place. America sends rum to Africa. Slaves come from Africa and make their way into the West Indies and slowly up here to North America. And eventually sugar and slaves end up coming to the colonies, so it's a very lucrative trading pattern. The passage of slaves to the New World is called the Middle Passage. That's the boat trip that is here, and it's absolutely brutal. Called the Middle Passage because slaves are held in the middle sections of the boat. Many die on the way, and unfortunately one can say they were the lucky ones. Slaves came here, Africans came here from different tribes, different areas, not knowing one another, not knowing their languages. So a language develops called Gullah. It's kind of a butchered up mixture of English and African dialects, and it became a way that slaves learned how to communicate with each other. About 80% of slaves worked in the fields. About 20% were a little more fortunate. They worked in a house as a cook or a butler or a maid or perhaps took care of children. The very first organized slave rebellion here in America is called the Stoner Rebellion. And the reason it backfired is because treatment for slaves got worse because white Americans were afraid that they were going to have to suffer at the hands of slaves that were in rebellion. There are some key cities that spring up: Boston, Philadelphia, New York, and Charleston. Charleston's the only one in the South. A lot of trading takes place, so they send things out into the world. New York is not the biggest city in this country, at least until about 1900. Cities had a lot of problems. Everything's made out of wood, so fire is a constant issue. Things are dirty and filthy, and quite frankly, a lot of people in cities are quite poor. They don't have a lot of advantages. It's a mistake to think that there's just English people here. Africans are 20% of the population. English are 52%. But there's also German and Scottish and Irish and Scots-Irish and Dutch people here as well. The important thing is to know that each of these cultures contributes flavors and recipes and ideas and music and all kinds of exciting things that really help make America take shape. There are two great movements in this time period. The Enlightenment is when people began to use reason to understand the universe. And the Great Awakening is when Americans kind of came around to the idea that, hey, religion is important. And after many decades, almost a century of kind of ignoring it, it became a big deal. The Great Awakening had a profound effect in education. It kind of spurred the creation of colleges. Harvard, for example, our first college was founded in 1636 to train ministers. Ben Franklin, a founding father, key Enlightenment thinker, and Jonathan Edwards, a key preacher, sort of a new wave preacher who had a strong, powerful, positive, very loud message to give to people to scare them into believing more. Just some of the people who were part of the colonial world.